Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is Uncensored with me, Makola, and my mate, Rory. Rory's back on the channel. Rory, how you doing? Looking very
Tyson Fury.
suave there. Yeah. Tyson Fury's younger brother.
Yeah, my mate came round the other day, and I sort of went downstairs in this. As I walked down the stairs, he just looked at me, and went, Tyson Fury. I was like, okay, you've completely ruined ruined my dressing gown for me now.
Nah, you're looking good there, man. How you feeling? How you feeling? Champions League week, Chelsea
Yeah,
win.
yeah, I think it was a brilliant win for Chelsea. Actually, it really did feel like a great win. It was the best we've played for ages. I think we made light work of Lille. I think it's fair to say that we're through. And it was all done. We finally dropped Lukaku. We finally made that statement to drop him, which it should have happened ages ago because his form has been atrocious. Obviously, it culminated the thing that went mad on social media. You know that 7 touches, and it
Who
wasn't
was
even
that
seven.
against again?
Palace away,
Oh,
and
that's
it wasn't
bad.
even seven ad because it was seven, but one of them was a kickoff, one of them was a clearance, and two of them were offside. Like it was playing with 10 men. When people say, "Oh, we're playing with 10 men," you're often not. Whereas this was
Yeah.
like we literally were playing with 10 men.
Yeah, yeah, that's. I mean, we could talk about Lukaku actually because Manchester United had him a few years ago, and I was on the BBC saying Man United need to sign Lukaku like a
Yeah,
year before it happened. Like I really wanted him to sign, and when he signed, I thought we've got a guy now that is just going to start tearing it up. He's going to
that's what
come
I
of
thought.
age. He's going to become the man that we all expect him to become, and it didn't quite happen. Now, to be honest, I thought at the time it was 50-50 in blame, like United and him. I felt like United had to take some of the blame on it, especially when you hear about, the diet, the fitness regime, etc. Like we weren't looking after, helping him look after his body. He weren't looking after his body. His performances, you could argue, were down to him, but then there was United was an absolute circus. Do you know what I mean? So we didn't
Mm.
really know where to put it, and then he goes off to Inter. He's one of the top goal scorers in Italy, and they win the league. And did you think at that point United had got Lukaku wrong rather than
Yeah, definitely. Definitely that, rather than it being Lukaku's issue. I think that the concerns that I would often hear from Manchester United fans, and the two big ones were doesn't score against big teams, first touch. They were the concerns that you would hear regularly from Manchester United fans. I thought that they were legitimate concerns at the time, but Conte at Inter had put that right. I thought that Romelu Lukaku and Conte, I should say, had put that right. And I was desperate. I put a video out similar to what you said about the BBC. I put a video out on my channel about a month before Chelsea signed Lukaku, where I practically begged the Chelsea board to sign Lukaku. I thought he was the answer. We won the European Cup. I thought he was the guy that was going to land and change us from pretenders for the league to genuine contenders for the league. And it just hasn't been that case at all. I mean, he started really well. I mean, in terms of like bold predictions, the beginning of this season, I got it so wrong. I was talking about Lukaku for the Golden Boot. I was saying a potential Ballon d'Or. I don't know what I was on about.
I thought he could have helped you win the league, to be honest.
Yeah, so did I. I really did. But he just hasn't kicked on at all. And now the truth of the matter is Chelsea's most fluid front three and Chelsea's best front three is Kai Havertz as a false nine. Like Lukaku shouldn't be in our first team, which is ridiculous. 100 million quid.
Mm,
So I think
mm.
it's gone. I think it's
What
gone sour,
happens? Do you
but
think
a
he
good
leaves
week.
in the summer?
It's very difficult, isn't it, with these situations because you have to protect your asset. He leaves if Chelsea get anywhere near £100 million offer, but
Mm,
you obviously don't because nobody wants to take that kind of punt. He's a year older. He's a year into his career where he doesn't look very well. He hasn't been playing very well at all, and I don't think that you get anywhere near the 100 million. And that means that Chelsea would have to take a hit of what 40%.
possibly, yeah.
Someone offers you 60. I don't think the club will do that. So I think that the club will be, and I think the reason when he spoke to Sky Italia, he spoke to them. He was dropped from the next game, and since then he played 10 in a row. And I think the reason he played 10 in a row, being terrible in them, is because of pressure from the club to get him playing well. A manager's responsibility at Chelsea is to get the best players playing well
There
because
was a
of
bit of
their
that with
financial
Lampard,
problem.
wasn't there?
Yeah, when as soon as it started going wrong with Lampard with big name signings, they brought in somebody that was in theory like Havertz and Werner weren't looking good under Lampard. One of the motivations for sacking Lampard was let's bring someone in who will get Werner and Havertz playing well.
Do you think the club could make that kind of decision again because of Lukaku. Because if you look at Lukaku as well, I thought he could have gone back to Inter, but I think Inter now probably look at this and go, we replaced him for a fraction of the price in Dzeko. You know, you look at Tammy Abraham going to Italy, scoring a lot of goals. There's a lot of strikers going to Italy at the minute and scoring goals.
Yes.
A 36-year-old Ronaldo outscored Lukaku. I know it's Ronaldo, but like, you know, they're probably thinking we don't need to spend that much money to actually have him, even though they do like him.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be desperate for him, because also the Inter ultras
Oh yeah,
are no longer fans of, they loved him, but they certainly don't love him anymore. So I think they have no desire to see him back. I don't necessarily think, like, he loves Inter Milan. He's constantly flirting with Inter Milan, but I'm not necessarily sure that they would want him back. I think it's a really difficult situation for Chelsea to navigate now. I don't really know how it ends, but while Thomas Tuchel's getting the results, it's fine. But as soon as it starts going a little bit wrong with results, the history of Chelsea have taught us that the manager will be sacked. And one of the big insights into when he'll be sacked is when the big players start falling out with him. And that's what's happening with Lukaku already.
It does only seem to be Lukaku at the minute, though, or am I wrong?
No, it does only seem to be Lukaku. And the results are massive. Like, I know that you agree, but I'm sure that lots of people watching this video won't necessarily agree. Chelsea became champions of the world, which was a massive moment for the club. I know that people like to
United fans. I think United fans know.
Do they?
You know,
yeah.
You're talking to predominantly United fans there. I think United fans appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't really sneer at any trophy, genuinely. Like, Chelsea are playing the League Cup final on Sunday. I will be desperate for Chelsea to win that game, and I will be heartbroken if Chelsea don't win it. Like, I really like silverware. I think the whole point of football is silverware, and I don't understand that mentality. When people go, oh, I'll tell you who really make me laugh with regard to it. A really good example of it. In the whole of the world, maybe Liverpool fans, maybe Manchester United fans, and maybe Real Madrid fans could potentially be a bit sneery about, say, the Europa League. I'm not saying they are, but they may have a justification to being a bit sneery. But I find it mad. When, like, Arsenal fans don't qualify for Europe and they're like, brilliant, rather finish eighth than seventh. And you're like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Like, your club have a pitiful record in Europe, and you're telling me that you don't want to be in European competition. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't sneer at any trophy. And winning that Club World Cup, it means that in 19 years, Chelsea have won everything. It's a clean sweep. It's literally every single thing, every single major trophy that is available to Chelsea, Chelsea have won it.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, we're in that house as well.
Yeah. I remember, because when you beat Ajax, when you beat Ajax, like, obviously I didn't want Manchester United to win that final for loads of reasons, but I really didn't want Manchester United to win that final, because it would have meant that you got the full shebang, and I didn't want you to enter that club, because at the time, in terms of like that was in terms of like European trophies, it brought you into the full set of European trophies. At the time, it was only Chelsea, Ajax, and Juventus that did it. Manchester United entered the club, but I like a closed club. Keeps it. Also, it's elite, isn't it? Manchester United, Chelsea, Ajax, Juventus.
Yeah, I would have thought Bayern Munich would have been in there for some reason, but
I don't know if they win.
Do you know? Spend their time at the top table.
They only spend their time. Yeah, I don't think the reason Real Madrid aren't in there either is because they're always in the Champions League. So they don't get the opportunity.
It's like Barcelona. I remember them when I first can remember watching football as a UEFA Cup team. Like, that's kind of what I remember them as.
Completely. Barcelona's history isn't dissimilar to Chelsea's history in as much as recent success. Like, I remember Jose Mourinho when he won the European Cup with Porto. Jose Mourinho, because Barcelona fans really don't like him, when they were giving him stick, he's like, I've won more European Cups than you. Well, I've won the same amount of European Cups than you. Don't give me grief. I've won the same amount as you. So yeah, Barcelona's European pedigree is very recent.
Exciting news, our friends over at Manscaped have just launched their 4th generation performance package, and that includes the Lawnmower 4.0 4.0? That's right, the Lawnmower 4.0, which includes a 7,000 RPM motor to take care of your spuds when you need it most. Make sure you join 2 million men who trust Manscaped, and you can do that by going to manscaped.com and getting 20% off and free shipping using the code Paddock20. We've all had it where you're trying to trim downstairs, you've got a big date coming up, it's your Valentine's, it's the anniversary, you need to look spick and span down there. But what happens? You end up using your mum's hair scissors, you end up trying to do something weird, getting a blowtorch out of the shed, using an axe that your dad uses to chop wood for the fire. None of that's going to work. You're going to cut yourself, you're going to nick yourself. We've all been there, using the scissors to try and go around your balls like some sort of weird stencil. It's not going to work. You're going to nick them, and you're going to really regret ever trying to make it a DIY job. That's where Manscaped comes in. Look at this. This, quite simply put, is the greatest device in trimming your pubes that has ever existed. It's a Lawnmower 4.0. It's got a 7,000 RPM motor, and the best thing about it is the anti-nick technology. You can see that there. Anti-nick technology, right? What that means is that you're not going to catch your spuds when you're trying to clean up in your trousers. Make sure you check out Manscaped. Again, it's not just this. They've got this, the Crop Reviver. This is what you put on. You're going straight out after work. It's in your work bag. Let me just nip to the toilet. Let me just freshen up. You got this bad boy, the Crop Preserver, straight out of the shower, pop it on. Deodorant for under the arms, Crop Preserver for under the garms. You know what I mean? You know what it is. And one of the best things about the Lawnmower 4.0 is that it's waterproof. So you can do it in the shower, you can do it over the sink, you can do it at a public pool if you really want to. You might get kicked out, but you can do it there. That's the thing. Shave your pubes out in the rain if you want to. If that's what your thing is, you've got some weird fetish where you get in your truck, you drive out to a hillside, get in the flatbed, wait for it to rain, trim your pubes. This thing isn't going to electrocute you, and you're fine to do that because that's your property. Or just do it in the shower like I do. It's fantastic, easy clear up, and you don't have to worry about it breaking. And not just does that mean, yes, I can do it in the shower, it also means it's easy to clean because you get in there, sometimes you get your little brush, trying to do it, trying to blow on it, get your little pubes out. No one wants that. Run it under the tap, it's clean, perfect to be stored away. So, you know what, your mum don't find it or your missus don't find it. Or she might use it, to be honest. So make sure you check out manscaped.com. Again, use the code Paddock20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Thank you once again to Manscaped for sponsoring the podcast. Back to the show, lads.
Something I want to talk to you about, and it blew up last night, after the, obviously, Champions League game. We'll talk about the Champions League, maybe predict the last 8 or something like that in a bit. But Antonio's Conte head has absolutely well and truly fallen off at Spurs. The wheels have fell off. Everything's going wrong. It's been about not even 3 months yet. Is that November? No, sorry. It's nearly been 4 months. He arrived in November. What are you making of Antonio Conte? For those that don't know, basically he come out yesterday and said that he doesn't know whether he's the guy for this job. He doesn't like what's going on at the club.
Do you know what he issued?
It's not me, he said.
You know, basically. Usually you get managers like issuing a come and get me plea.
Yeah.
He issued a come and sack me plea. He's like, just get me out of it. But I mean, it's mad, isn't it? But do you know what? I did a video on my channel and I was like talking about terrible couples that you knew were going to go wrong. And I was talking about Rihanna and Chris Brown, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, Daniel Levy and Antonio Conte. Like this was always going to happen. I don't know if I maybe overestimated the power of Conteism and what Conte can do, but I thought that maybe they got it right. I thought that the years of turmoil for Tottenham, maybe the fact that they now got an elite manager, they were going to do everything they could to keep him. But Daniel Levy, all he had to do, all Antonio Conte had to do was spend a little bit of time on the internet, Google Tottenham, understand the way that they conduct their business. And it went wrong immediately, didn't it? All he wanted, he didn't want that much. He wanted Luis Diaz, £40 million player, and Adama Traore, a geezer not getting in the Wolves team. And what do? They give him Bentancur and that Kulusevski. Like, that's not what he wanted. And he's a manager who, look, he's a bit wild, isn't he? He's a bit temperamental. And he's combustible. And I like that about him. I think that's what makes him so special. I really do love that about him. But I also think that at a club like Tottenham, they can't really deal with that kind of character because the chairman operates at such a weird level. But I think it's over now, don't you? Regardless of whether they paper over the cracks and he's manager of their game against Leeds, which he probably will be. I think it's over. I think the experiment is over.
I tend to agree. It feels like Mourinho's football heritage moment at United, although on speed, like it feels a lot worse. And you know, one of the things, look, and I always saw this coming, and it was part of the reason I didn't want Conte at United, because similar things will happen. Like if this was at United, he would have been crying and his hair would have been out by now again. It would have been a mess, like a complete other mess, because he would have came to United with the expectations of we should be competing with Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these teams, and then the board are holding us down here. So his head would have went even more, I think, and that was kind of the reason I didn't want him. I didn't want another Mourinho at United, and
but there is a
difference. Another
difference.
Mourinho at Spurs.
But there is a difference. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but there is a difference. Manchester United and Tottenham, there is a huge difference. Like Manchester United are Manchester United, and you know the state of the club and the prestige of the club will always be there. You know, they're Manchester United aren't comparable to Tottenham as football clubs. Manchester United
I think
are
the
a
ownership
British institution. Yeah, but the difference is
and how they act.
Antonio Conte is probably the best thing to have ever happened to Tottenham Hotspur. It's certainly the best thing to have happened to Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League era. Antonio Conte wouldn't be in the top 20 things to have happened to Manchester United in the Premier League era. Do you know what I mean? Like it isn't comparable.
No, I hear that. But I just think this, the board and the way they're run, I think Ed Woodward and Daniel Levy have a lot of similarities. And I think it would have ultimately come to this.
I think it would have come to this, but not yet. Because firstly, it's Manchester United, and I think he would want that job more than he wants a Tottenham job, and therefore his behavior. If you're going out with a girl and you're really, really into her, you can be a lot more, like you can forgive an awful lot more than if you're not that into the girl to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can be a lot more forgiving if you're keen, and I think he would have been a lot more keen on Manchester United. Yeah, I also think the players that he would have gotten, like the players at Manchester United this season are wicked. By and large, right, they're wicked. So he wouldn't be dealing with Harry Winks. He wouldn't be dealing with Emerson Royale. He wouldn't be dealing with Eric Dyer. He'd be dealing with Raphael Varane and whoever else. So I think the situation would be different. But do you know what, Adam? I think you're right. I think it would end badly with Manchester United because it has a tendency to end badly wherever he is. But I also think it would have ended badly in 2026. And in the meantime, you would have won a league or something. And therefore, you have to pick your poison. Is that worth it?
I just thought, I don't think he would have been the guy for us. But who will be the guy for us? Nobody.
Mate,
knows.
he might still be. He might still be if he ends up leaving.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him at Newcastle soon.
Do you reckon?
Imagine Eddie Howe keeps him up.
Do you think he could go to Newcastle? He does love money. He really loves money.
I mean, black and white like Juventus. They love money.
Mate, can you imagine that? I mean, that would be a statement from Newcastle, wouldn't it? That would be the statement. Do you remember when?
I see them getting a Mourinho, a Conte type level manager.
I think Mourinho more like somebody.
The amount of clubs open
to
them now are limited, aren't they? Like, where do you see Conte going next? One of the big Spanish clubs? No. Possibly
maybe
back to Italy.
Could he go to one of the big Spanish clubs? Could he go to Real Madrid?
I don't think they'd accept him there.
I still think Manchester United.
He'd have the white hankies out straight away.
Yeah. I think Manchester United. You know when Rangnick moves upstairs, if that is still the plan, the constant talk of Pochettino, I feel like Conte will be back on the table for them at least. If Conte's available, they're going to consider him, aren't they?
I think this makes them go no.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Also, if you were worried about his slight lunatic strand of his, if you were worried about that before Tottenham, you're going to look at this and go, "Oh my god, yeah, you're right." If you were worried about Conte being wild before this, now you're really worried because that kind of talk in the press is just unacceptable, isn't it?
Now, part of me thinks, look, 90% of me believes this is down to Tottenham, and Tottenham bringing him in under false pretenses, and therefore he's now exploded because of that. He never got what he wanted. His last 4 in 5, the guy's gone mad. But there's a little part of me that feels, if I was a Spurs fan, I'd be thinking, you've been here for 3 months, 4 months. Why have you chucked the toys out of the pram? Isn't it his job to try and get results in the meantime? Shouldn't he be criticised for not beating Burnley? Because with the players you've got, you should be beating Burnley.
Adam, he is not blameless in this, not at all. Firstly, he should be beating Burnley, but secondly, do you know how that press conference should have gone? He should have gone, really sad with the result. I expected more from the players. It's my responsibility to get the best out of these players. It's my responsibility to come up with a system that brings the best out of these players. We're disappointed, but we had a big win the other day, and we play Leeds on the weekend, and we're going to go 100 miles an hour for that game. That is the press conference. That's exactly what should have been said. Antonio Conte said none of the above. So he is responsible. Of course he's responsible. It's just we know what he's like. If I tell you, if I have a dog and I tell you that the dog bites, and then you pet the dog and the dog bites you, who's responsible? Whose fault is it? Do you know what I mean? Whose fault is it really? And basically, the dog has bitten Levy, and they know that the dog has teeth. Like you can't really be held accountable for acting like a lunatic when you are a self-declared lunatic.
I do feel they've lied to him somewhere. Somewhere someone's been lied to.
But they've let him down in the transfer market. With like Luis Diaz and Adama Traore, they were Tottenham players, weren't they? If Tottenham wanted them to be Tottenham players, Adama Traore wasn't getting in the Wolves team.
Could a little bit of it be the expectation, the realization of, well, Barcelona coming for Adama, he's gone there. Liverpool coming for Luis Diaz, he's gone. Bro, I'm not.
But it should have been wrapped
top
up.
Table anymore.
No, but it should. I think it should have been wrapped up. I think if Daniel Levy had gone 50 million on January the 1st to Porto, Luis Diaz is a Tottenham player now. And if he'd gone with a proper bid early for Adama Traore is a Tottenham player. It was the dilly-dallying. It was the slow nature. It was the perseverance for bargain, the desperation for a bargain or £1 million off here and there. Go and get the players. Otherwise, you make a mockery of the appointment. And do you know what else has got to be really hard for Antonio Conte to see? The ease at which Luis Diaz he's a duck to water in the Premier League. Like, you know, when you think of players that signed for Liverpool over the years, Andy Robertson, he didn't play for 6 months. Klopp had to teach him. Even Fabinho
wasn't being used.
Thiago Alcantara really took ages. Whereas Luis Diaz is dinking the keeper in his third game and all that. And you're like Antonio Conte's got to be looking at that going, I told you, man. I told you this geezer was the one.
Yeah, it's true. Right. Let's move on to this bit. We got Champions League last 16 was this week. And we'll wrap the show up with this. We'll predict the last 8 or something. Obviously, we've seen the first leg so far, so we're a little bit cheating. We had a few big results. Real Madrid
for you, mate. For you,
by PSG. What did you make of that late goal from Ilanga?
I think it's mate. It's an absolutely. Do you know what that was from Manchester United? It was the blueprint of how to play away from home in Europe. It was ride your luck. You've got to be lucky. You weren't very good, but being lucky is better than being good sometimes. Get your one chance. Keep fighting. Keep defending. Keep working as hard as you can. Get your one chance, and then don't make any mistake. Take that chance, and he did. It was a brilliant finish. Bruno Fernandes.
What a finish from the young lad,
mate. Really good. I mean, it was never not. He was never not scoring. I think that's probably the best compliment that you can pay him. I was watching that game with Lawrence on the kickoff, and the second he went through, we knew. It's never not going to score that. I thought Bruno Fernandes got a lot of stick last night, but I don't really understand. I understand
he was poor, man. Up until that point, he was poor. But then he gets the assist.
But then you do that. But then I think the way that I would approach a player like Bruno Fernandes is, if he does that, it kind of doesn't matter what else he's done during the game because he's done that.
Do you know why I think some people were upset with his performance yesterday, especially in the first half, the first 10 minutes. If you looked at it, I think it was him that kind of gave us that edgy, negative feel early on. He gave the ball away about 4 times.
Yeah.
And he was just constantly moaning, and it was like, the game's 5 minutes old, Bruno. Why is your head gone already?
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that can spread across the team, and then Luke Shaw gets a bit nervous on the ball, and then Maguire, and it's like, your responsibility at times is to just calm everything down a little bit. And I saw Pogba going to him, just calm down. And I felt when he lost his head, like the team and I think in Europe, you have to be a little bit more clinical. You have to realize, there's 4 quarters of this game to come. We've still got to go to Old Trafford. And I just felt
And you're
let
playing a
yourself down for a
Simeone
bit.
team. You're playing a Simeone team away from home. Don't make it a war of attrition. Don't make it this lunacy thing.
Yeah,
Because
just calm down, like, because he
calm.
was
Yeah.
losing his head.
No, that's fair. That is good. That's
and
a good assessment, Adam. That's fair. But I just think that do you know when I see a player doing something like that in the midfield, and basically look, Alanga gets the goal and deserves a lot of the plaudits, but the assist was the assist, you know, like proper. I just find it weird when maybe it's not weird, and I understand the demands that you put on players, and you are totally right. He shouldn't be losing his head, but when a player that can play that kind of pass, you have to be forgiving to them in other aspects of their game, because he's probably, alongside Paul Pogba, he's probably the only players at Manchester United that have the vision to play that kind of pass. So
for sure.
But it's a massive result, absolutely brilliant result for you. And do you know what? I think you're probably going to win it, which I certainly didn't think up until that goal went in.
The worrying thing for us is they've got Griezmann and Suarez to come back into the team, Carrasco as well, I think. So they've got some big players to come back into the team. But
yeah, but you got McTominay to come back, so
that's you know what? Actually, yeah, I genuinely think McTominay starting yesterday frees up Pogba in a different way, because Rashford shouldn't be anywhere near starting for us at the moment.
Yeah.
And Pogba would have started on the left. So I think maybe, you know, I've never been McTominay's biggest fan, but I think maybe not being able to play McTominay, it was a late change. I think that could have had that early impact on the team looking a bit out of shape. But then showed you how much we need a number 6 when Matic comes in for half an hour and just settles everything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Pogba was fuming, wasn't he? Pogba was fuming with that substitution, but it was good from Rangnick. It worked.
I thought Rangnick got it wrong. I thought he got it wrong against at the weekend, and he got it right. Like, you know what I mean? So he has to be credited for that. So you think we'll go through? I'm confident, but I hate being confident. I like to be negative, but I think we're going to go through as well. Let's go through the other ones. So we've got United in the last 8. Bayern drew with Salzburg. Salzburg had a chance there. They could have been 2-0 up at one point in the game. It ends 1-1. You think that's Bayern going through now?
Yeah, that's Bayern. Bayern definitely through.
I think this one is Liverpool going through against Inter, aren't they?
Yeah, Liverpool are through, Man City are through, Chelsea are through. I think that they're in the bag.
So Bayern, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. Yeah, I think that's fair, especially City and Liverpool winning 2-0 as they head away. Real Madrid, PSG. Do you think Real Madrid can come back?
Yes, definitely.
Will they?
Yes.
Oh, you're counting on PSG's lack of history, just
yeah. It's Real Madrid. I'm never backing Paris Saint-Germain over Real Madrid. Like, it's Real Madrid. It's Real Madrid. Come on, like
I think PSG are going through.
Hey, PSG, they bottle it, man. They've bottled worse situations than this.
I know. It's true, but I think we are at a stage where if it doesn't feel like you're bottling anything yet. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think they'll have that mentality. Sure. And I think but Benzema decides to turn it on, it's game, set and match. This is a proper European tie. Ajax, Benfica, 2 historic teams in the competition. 2-2, big result for probably, you know, I think Benfica were losing twice, but at home they're probably expecting to get a result.
Yeah, I think Ajax will go through, man. Ajax will go through. The Ajax, like one of the goals, you know, we had that game on as well. It wasn't the one I was focusing on, but we had that game on. I thought Benfica were riding their luck a bit during that game. Like, I think Sebastian Haller scored an own goal, didn't he? And, you know, also, I watched earlier this year that the dismantling from Ajax of Dortmund.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ajax are a really, really strong proposition.
Looking good, isn't he?
Doing very well.
Juventus, Villarreal. It's 1-1 at the minute. Unai Emery's got...
Juve.
Oh, I think we could be surprised there, you know.
Do you think?
Villarreal got something about them in this European competitions. Obviously, not more so in the Europa League, but I do think something could happen there. It was a big goal for them to get back into that game. So we're going Bayern, Liverpool, City. I'm going PSG. You're going Real Madrid. We're both going Manchester United. Ajax. You're going Juventus. I'm going Villarreal. And both going Chelsea. So we could have, if we're right, 4 English teams.
4 out of 8. I think we're going to have an all-English final as well. Whether it's in St. Petersburg or... Well, I mean, it won't be in St. Petersburg, will it? But 4 out of 8. If
last time it was in Russia, it was United-Chelsea.
I don't think it can be in Russia now, though, Adam, with everything. I mean, let's not go into the specifics. But
we know it might not be, but it's scheduled to be.
Saying
last
that,
time it was scheduled to be.
Saying that, do you know what, mate? It could be, because there have been times where games should have been moved. Do you remember when Chelsea played Arsenal in the Europa League final?
Azerbaijan.
Yeah, in Baku. And do you remember Mkhitaryan?
Yeah, he couldn't go. That was stupid. That was.
How can they have a situation where that can, yeah, and
That's
the game
bad,
went
innit?
ahead. The game should have been moved, in my opinion. There, but
Yeah.
but look, I think the English clubs are dominating, man, really strong.
I mean, 3 of them already through pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
exactly.
need United to join them. Right, Rory, what are you doing this week? What do you want to plug? Obviously, you got your channel. We're doing another podcast next Monday, Macaulay and Rory podcast. Rory
Yes.
Jennings YouTube channel. Links in the description. But what else are you doing at the moment?
Mate, you've done it. Yeah, the YouTube channel would be great to if you want to see more of this. But let's definitely get more going on the podcast ad. Let's get the Macaulay and Rory podcast going far stronger.
Yeah, well, I mean, we shouldn't have went away to LA. That's what killed the
Yeah.
momentum,
I know.
didn't it?
That's
but
what
we're back
that's
now.
what yeah, absolutely. We're back.
So we'll get on it. Guys, thank you for tuning in to Uncensored with Rory. It's been an absolute pleasure having a little chinwag with Rory for a bit. We would have left it going on longer, but we've both got stuff to do. And we got poker tonight. Can't
You're
wait.
not winning. You are not going to win the poker. I promise you. You are not. No, whatever I have to do, you're not winning. I'm not letting it happen. No matter what, it's not happening.
You'll never win 3 in a row.
You're not winning 4 in a row. I promise you that.
Subscribe, like, share. See you in a bit.
In a bit.